What is going on, everybody? I am SSG, aka Sergeant Sentinel, and welcome to the episode 28 PSN Party Podcast. Here with BaldManGamer, always exceptional Destiny playing, Marvel Snap. Once you go Marvel, there is no rival. And our special guest, Boxenberger. Boxenberger, welcome to the PSN Party Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be on here.
And we always start off with our podcast with asking people what they've been playing this week. And I know you and I before the show were talking about Diablo, but for the listeners, obviously, please tell us what you've been playing and what it is about Diablo that really drew you in.
Yeah. I've been playing mostly Diablo. It kind of consumed me. I'm a huge Diablo fan, always have been. I played probably 1,000 hours of Diablo 2. Way above 500 hours of Diablo 3, so I'm just a sucker for those games, and Diablo 4 is just so well done. I don't know, they modernized the classic formula, it still feels like a Diablo game, but there are certain elements and parts of the game that just feel modern and fresh and exciting. And honestly, I can't remember a ongoing game in recent years that did the end game so well. There's tons of content. There's always something rewarding to do, and yeah, I'm just in love with it. Super fun, that game. Yeah, and
nice.
Yeah. Besides that, after the announcement, of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I started to play another playthrough of the first Final Fantasy VII remake. So been enjoying that as well. Such a fantastical game. Yeah, so that's basically it. That was kept me busy lately.
Nice, very nice. BaldManGamer, have you played Diablo 4 yet? Is it something that you're interested in?
To be honest, no, I don't really play the point click games. Tap 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 point click tap 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 point click.
Wow. You can't call Diablo point and click.
I've never. To be fair, I've never played Diablo. I've never played them. It's never been a franchise or a game that I've I've got to play. It's just something I've never. It's never, a game that's made me want to play. It's just okay. I understand all the hype. Looks good, and for what everyone talks about, it sounds really good. But it's time's precious, time's limited. Would I invest in how much the game is just to probably play it for about 20 minutes and go, nah? But no, not my kind of game, I'm afraid. But everyone else that loves it, that's great. It's doing well. Everyone seems to be enjoying it, but not for me, I'm afraid.
So since you haven't been playing Diablo 4, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, my usual, got to get my daily dose of Marvel Snap, because, as we say, once you go Marvel, there's no other rival, and it's just addictive. They've just done loads and loads of new updates to it, added a load of new cards, and I wish it was console. If it was console, I wouldn't play anything else. If it was on console, that's it. I'd be hooked on it, and that's all I would play. But yeah, I love me Marvel Snap. Now they've added all this contest mode, and pretty much you start at, let's just say rank 1, and you've got to get through so many matches, win so many matches against other players, earn rewards, get to the top of that one, then you move on to the next one, and it's got, I think it's Iron, Infinity, and things like that. So it's really, really good. Really added a breathe more new life into it. But yeah, it's still going strong, still big player base. I think the only person I've actually played that I know was Fimber, and I tried going easy on him, but it didn't last. But I've not really been playing Destiny. I'm having a bit of a fallout with Destiny at the moment, because I've not been able to play, because literally every time you get on, it just constantly kicks you off. There's so many connectivity issues at the moment. Things like, because I'm in a in a clan, can't even see the people that are online, or if I join into like and jump into a dungeon or do like my weekly strikes, my Vanguard ops and things like that, and the seasonal content, and it just keeps kicking me out. So Destiny's on the side for now.
And that's a widespread problem people are having with Destiny right now.
Yeah, it's because obviously I follow a few things on Twitter with Destiny and that, and it's just a huge. It literally. You'd have your maintenance on a Tuesday, you take it offline, do all the updates, back online, my time, 6 p.m. UK time. And then you've got all like the refresh store, any like stuff that they've had to fix. But it's literally now, it's daily. It's daily issues. They're constantly having to take it offline to patch this, fix that. And it just seems to be fix one thing, two other things break. And I'm not saying it's PlayStation's fault. I'm not saying that, but it's literally started since PlayStation took full control of Bungie. It just seems to be one thing after another, and
Yeah,
I'm starting to think maybe they should have just stayed independent, and they wouldn't get. Maybe they're getting a bit complacent. Maybe not. That might just be me reading more. Probably me just reading a bit too much into it, but. It's an old engine they're using. There's a lot of updates. In fact, they're currently high because they use the Tiger engine, and they're currently looking for people to help improve it. So clearly, they know they've got issues and there's problems, and they're trying to get people in to help fix it, update it, improve it. Because we've got Marathon that comes out next year. I don't think they give a release date. So I think that's next year. And they've also got which was sort of a bit more confirmed through all this FTC stuff and things like that, Project Matter, which is a new IP that they're working on. Because I know a lot of people say Marathon's this brand new IP, but it's actually an original game Bungie did back in like the late 80s, early 90s. It's, it originally played on the original Mac, the old Apple II. So it's actually an old game with a been revamped, sort of bit reimagined, but still essentially the same game. And they want everything to work across all three games.
Yeah,
with the engine, they're keeping the same engine. So whatever's going on, whatever's happening, it's not playable at the moment for me. I'm seeing quite a lot of issues, so it's on the back burner. So we kind of just jumped into, because I own Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 and Sherlock Holmes The Awakened, the PlayStation 5 versions. So I've started Chapter 1, which I'm a fan of Sherlock Holmes. I do like that. So it's quite good. It's good. I'm enjoying it so far. And the only other thing I played is we started it yesterday. Me and Ash, we've been talking for a while about jumping into an MMO, try and get some, community involved if they want to play, and some other panel members if they want to join. But it turns out it was just me and Ash, because we thought it was sort of a last minute thing, and we jumped into DC Universe Online.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people still playing, which is quite a shock, really. They've separated console to PC, but yeah, it's really good. Really enjoyed it. We had a really good time. My guy runs around naked with a cape, but he's like the skin I've got is called Vanguard of the Heavens, so it's like you're just looking into space as I move around. But it's really cool, really enjoying it. We had a really good time. I think we played for like 2.5 hours, I think. And if it wasn't for work the next day, and Ash with stuff as well, we probably could have gone on for a few more hours. But hopefully next time we're going to get some more people involved to play. Free to play. We're playing the free to play, not paying for content or anything like that, because a lot of the content now is free up to a certain point, but we're nowhere near that point yet. So right. I think it's like 40 odd episodes they call them, chapters, before we need to get to membership stuff. Because like with ESO, I enjoy ESO as well. I'm quite far into that, but not played that for quite a while. ESO, you buy the seasonal content if you want. If you don't want to be a member, you can buy every chapter that comes out each year. But DCU, they've done away with that, and you have access to like all the further along content that we're probably about a year off yet anyway. You need paid membership for that. So maybe I might do the odd paid monthly, maybe, see where we go. But yeah, that's about it from me.
Nice. Before I do come to Ash, I want to give a shout out to the channel members. Muppet 1169, Thimber, UK Dazarus, Slayer Exclusive Gaming, Darren, Matt Kelly, Web Dave, Wandering Dutch, Shadowmole, Back from the Dead 1, Paul AFC, BMG, and some random, the BMG gifted. Thank you to all the channel members. To become a channel member, it's only 99p, as Ash says, and you get a load of exclusive content. So it's definitely worth it. Definitely check it out. Ash, what have you been playing this week?
Well, like I say, playing DCU online after failing miserably trying to play Star Trek online and it being a massive disappointment. It was terrible, wasn't it? It didn't feel as good as I remember. So yeah, I really enjoy playing DC online. I'm going to be playing that a lot more going forward. I've been playing a lot of Crash Team Rumble. It's a fun game, fun sort of multiplayer game. It's a bit lacking in content, but the core gameplay is really, really fun. I'm trying to think what else I've been playing, really. Sort by last use. Every time I think I just forget. Sweet Bakery Tycoon. I'm still playing my way through that. I've got to play those classics. And then I've just started playing AW Fight Forever, which I'm hoping to get a review out on Friday or Thursday on release day. So even if it's just a first impressions, there'll be something out on release day.
Right. That was the game you got a code for, right?
Yeah, because normally, like THQ are great. They always sort of send us codes for games and stuff, but normally I get them on the day of release. So my reviews of that are normally like a week later or a few days later, but they've actually sent me one a couple of days early this time. So
nice.
I'm going to jump on that and see how it stacks up. Admittedly, I'm not a big AW fan, but I am a big wrestling fan. But a game's a game, and I'll play it. But yes, Timber, I am here. I don't know if I'm going to be here all night. I just thought I'd jump in and say hello anyway. So
nice. Glad to have you on the podcast. Even if it's only for half an hour, 45 minutes. Still nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
So far this week, I've been playing a lot of Far Cry 6. I know I bought it for the Xbox, but it came to PlayStation Plus, and I said, you know what? It's a big title. I might as well get my money's worth out of PlayStation Plus. Been playing through it, actually having a lot of fun. I did notice that it seems like there's more latency with the DualSense controller as far as Far Cry 6 goes. It's a dev issue. It's not necessarily a controller issue, as opposed to the Xbox controller. I don't know why this is, because sometimes, like whenever I press the circle button, it takes longer. Like it'll take half a second longer than it does on the Xbox controller. Not sure why it does this, but outside of very small issues like that, Far Cry 6 is actually a lot of fun and really solid on the PS5.
It is a fun game. I love the open world sandbox in Far Cry 6. You can do a lot of crazy shit.
My only complaint, I guess, is that, you know, the whole thing where you beat the game, but you constantly have to fight people trying to overthrow the new regime, and it's kind of like there's no end game, so to speak. It just keeps going and going. It feels like they did that because they want to keep engagement going. But outside of that, Far Cry 6 is actually a pretty solid game. You know, and PlayStation Plus, I know they're not doing day and date with Xbox, but a lot of the games they've been dropping on PlayStation Plus have been really solid. That's actually how I played Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. One of the best PlayStation exclusives this generation, without a doubt. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I wouldn't have been able to play it without buying it if I didn't have PlayStation Plus Premium. So in that regard, it's definitely worth the money for these bigger titles like that. Let me see. Let's go ahead and get into the first topic of the day. Now, I know this is because of the whole ABK court thing. I'm going to try to avoid too much getting into that because Jim Ryan didn't have necessarily a good showing today. But some of it you can't really avoid. Like, let me see. In private emails, Sony's CEO Jim Ryan said that Sony will be more than okay if the merger goes through and that he didn't believe Call of Duty would be withheld. Now, obviously, he was saying something slightly different to regulators, but of course, internal emails, it's good. You're going to get the truth because that's within Sony, and it's kind of like he doesn't have to argue his case outside of Sony because they're all on the same team. Boxenberger, have you heard anything about these emails where he said, hey, Call of Duty, he's like, I don't think Call of Duty is going to be withheld from PlayStation by Xbox, even if they purchase it.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us got really tired over the last 1.5 years of this whole ABK drama.
Yeah.
But the last few days have been actually interesting on it because of such emails like that and other things, also from Xbox, a lot of internal communication plans, strategies, and whatnot came to light. And I mean, a lot of people knew that Jim has been not very truthful with regulators as of late. When it comes to this deal, we heard earlier this year things like, I don't want a deal from Call of Duty. I just want to block the deal, the acquisition, things like that. And this kind of ties into that. I mean, it's obvious that PlayStation will be more than fine, even if Microsoft would pull Call of Duty away from PlayStation. PlayStation is such a well-known brand across the world. Losing even a big IP like Call of Duty would not really change things, So of course they would be fine. The weird thing to me about this really is not the actual content of the email, because we knew that, and we knew that he probably thinks like that. And of course, like you said, internal emails reveal just, I mean, they were written in confidence. Yeah. So he probably never thought this, that in a court case, his internal emails come to the public. The really weird thing about this is actually what happened today when he was on stand and it was not public. Like every other hearing, maybe Google, Nvidia, of course, the entire Xbox team, everyone, and that they questioned. The questioning was public, and this was behind closed doors. So I think this just tells you something about how PlayStation, or how confident Sony is with their arguments. If they do not want those, if you do not want those statements to become public, and I find that really weird about this entire case. But yeah, again, the content of the email, we knew that, and it just, I'm just not a fan of Jim. I'm a fan of PlayStation. And I I sometimes wish Sean Layden back, honestly.
Yeah.
Jim just feels so disconnected to the public, to the community. He just feels like a suit and not like the head of one of my most beloved gaming brands. So it's just,
No, I feel exactly the same way. It felt like under Sean Layden that the leadership for PlayStation was more connected, or at least they cared more about what the gamers want.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim Ryan, he's just a businessman, and he's running this the same way he would a bank or, any other corporation, without really caring about the content that the corporation puts out.
Exactly. And I think that's really special about the gaming industry and the gaming fan base. Gamers are just very connected to the brands.
Yeah,
you have that maybe in sports, where people really like have their favorite team and cheer for it and stuff like that. And it's not just about the fanboys. even though I own every console, I play on every system. I have PlayStation, Nintendo, the Switch, of course, the Xbox. I have a PC, and as of late, also the ROG Ally. I play everywhere.
Yeah.
But I still feel like very, attached to gaming and games and publishers, and and that's, I think, very special about this hobby and this community. And I don't think that Jim gets that, Like you said, he runs this business like you would run every other regular business, but gaming is different, and the gaming community is different. So I think they will. I've said this to Wandering Dutch on our podcast a couple of times. What I wonder about this really is, what does Sony think how they will come out of this deal? Because do they really think that kind of arguing against the obvious will convince regulators to actually block the deal?
Yeah.
And what kind of messages does this send to other publishers? This deal and this entire thing is so public that now every other developer, publisher in the gaming industry kind of knows how they operate and how dishonest some of his statements can be. And I feel like this hurt or can hurt Sony's reputation outside of the hardcore gaming community, because at the very end you can always argue and think like, okay, that the die-hard gamers, we won't sell our PlayStations because of that. And if you're a PlayStation fanboy, you will still be a PlayStation fanboy afterwards. But what about the relationships to other stakeholders in this industry? Maybe publishers, maybe like event organizations, and so on. I kind of wonder what he thinks, how Sony will come out of this after all these reveals.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're willing to sacrifice a lot of the goodwill they might have with some of these publishers just to prevent this huge deal from going through. Even though Phil Spencer has said repeatedly Call of Duty is going to keep being on PlayStation, it feels kind of like Jim doesn't want them to. He doesn't. It feels like he doesn't want Activision Blizzard to be immune to the exclusivity deals we've seen PlayStation negotiate in the past. That's what it feels like. Yeah, because the past couple of weeks we've seen some of these exclusivity deals come to light, and I mean it's gaming. We've seen these exclusivity deals in the past few years, in the past generations. It's no big surprise that these happen, and every company, Microsoft, Nintendo, PlayStation, they all have exclusivity in place, with of course Nintendo having more exclusivity because they control their own IPs very tightly. But with PlayStation, it seems like and the thing that bugs me, I guess, is that they have focused less on developing their own IPs and more on trying to secure exclusivity for IPs that they don't own. And it feels like they, I know some people say, well, that makes the most sense, from a monetary standpoint. But you have all these IPs that are great that PlayStation owns that are just sitting on shelves that they wouldn't have to fight with anybody to develop because they own them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can see kind of the shift under Jim Ryan in terms of portfolio, because I would argue that more or less everything that came out up until, I want to say, 21, maybe even 22, was still like the fruits of the Sean Layden era. Under Sean Layden, they shifted towards these big, gigantic blockbusters. We've seen them during the PlayStation 3 era as well, but like the big ones, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, the reboot of God of War in 2018, all these amazing blockbusters, they were kind of the fruit of Sean Layden and what was the guy before Sean?
I know BMG
Blanking.
knows. He loves PlayStation, so he knows.
Yeah, blanking on the name right now. Anyway, you get my point. And ever since Jim took over, he started to shift his focus, and we've seen that with the showcase. Yeah, a lot of ongoing service games coming. We have not seen many of the classic big blockbusters, and even those like Factions and so on kind of got put on hold. It's a kind of weird spot that PlayStation is in right now. Of course, they are still like the biggest name when it comes to consoles. I mean, yes, there is Nintendo, but you know what I mean. The more adult themed gaming platforms, PlayStation is just like a behemoth. But the focus has shifted so much, and I wonder how long that will go. And the last showcase just told you, okay, PlayStation's focusing on something different now. And yeah, not everyone is a fan of games as a service titles, and there are a lot of them coming on Sony's platform now.
Definitely good points. BMG, I know Jim Ryan is your unofficial uncle. What are your thoughts on the transition that we've seen PlayStation go through since he's taken over from Sean Layden?
Yeah, Jack Trenton was before Sean Layden.
There you go. There you go.
That's it.
See, yeah. I told you he knew.
Yeah. It's one of them. He's Jim Ryan's. He's not a gamer. He's a businessman. And at the end of the day, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they're all businesses. They're all out to make money. They all want your money. And I mean, it's important to have them. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah.
I always say, like, when people talk about Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, as being like the gamer, the very good on camera and upfront with gamers. And as much as I love that, that's not his job. His job is to run the business. And I mean, he's in the board of management of one of the most valuable companies in the world. So, he's actually a ruthless businessman. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in that position. So,
yeah, exactly. And all these CEOs of these companies, they do what's best for their business. When it all first started and everyone was, sort of saying, oh, bad PlayStation, this, bad PlayStation, that, going against this acquisition. Of course they are. They're going to say and do everything they can to block it. We've seen the email where he said, he's turned around and said, we don't get if Call of Duty gets taken off, whatever, we would be fine. But we know it's not going to happen, which, Phil Spencer said, God knows how many times that I don't know why some people still don't understand. They made it clear it's not profitable to take it off PlayStation. So, they don't want a deal because they know from their own mouth that it won't be profitable to take off because PlayStation is the main place to play. Like the advertising for PlayStation, the way the things that they do, the advertisements everywhere you go. Look what they did through the news from PlayStation 5, and like all different places all over the world. They had these giant statues and monuments of all different things from the games. Like you had Thor's hammer in, was it London? Was it Thor's hammer? Or was that the Leviathan axe? I can't remember. And you had,
I don't remember.
And I think it was France. They had the giant robot dinosaur from Horizon. Especially like with Spider-Man, when they did the Spider-Man advertisement for the 2018 game. 2018. Yeah, they did a whole subway train, and in the New York Underground and things like that. So they know how to run the business. They know how to make money. They know gobbling up exclusivity, marketing rights, makes people associate them games with PlayStation. I remember I was watching Xbox 2 a few weeks ago, and Randolph Orr was saying that his sister was wanting to play Hogwarts Legacy, and she was looking to where to get a PlayStation 5 to play Hogwarts because all the marketing was PlayStation. She assumed that it was only on PlayStation. And it's that, that mind share, getting everyone thinking, oh, I can only play it on PlayStation. We know how marketing works, and people that are in these communities, we know how it works. These games are cross-platform. We know just because they've got the marketing rights doesn't mean we can't play it on Xbox or Nintendo, PC, or wherever else. But we've also got to remember there's a even bigger mass of customers consumers outside of like gaming communities that they just see an advertisement on a TV, in a magazine, on the radio, wherever, and they just assume that's the only place they can get them games. And that's how PlayStation has always operated, because they don't have the bank balance of what Microsoft have. They don't have that money where they can just go and buy absolutely everything that they can. And it's just always been PlayStation's tactic, because when you're at the top of the mountain looking down on everyone else, it's you got to do what you got to do to stay up there. But
they have to play smarter, not harder. Basically,
exactly.
Yeah.
And like the fact that I don't know if we're doing it as a topic or not, but it was obviously mentioned that PlayStation was going for pure exclusivity of Starfield before Bethesda was acquired, and there'll be a lot of people upset with that, but also that would have been a smart move on the PlayStation front, is this is the only place you can play it, because they've got their first party games, but they take so long to make because games are getting more and more complicated, more complex. There's more in them, and the cycles are getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
So getting these third parties exclusive, you can only play on PlayStation. It's almost as good as a first party game in a sense.
We could actually transition into that as our next topic, because that's interesting. It seems like from the way Phil Spencer outlined it in court, it was learning that Starfield was going to be PlayStation exclusive that was kind of the deciding factor with them going after Bethesda as a whole. That's what it seemed like. I mean, am I wrong, or is that what you guys took from it as well?
No, I agree. I mean, I'm on the same page, but it's just hard. It's like the whole, I'm not going to share the details of PlayStation 6, because you might do this, you might do that. That's a bit, I can understand it protecting, but also it's a bit petty, because it makes no sense Microsoft making it worse on PlayStation, because PlayStation is where the bigger player base is for Call of Duty. Some of the stuff is a bit tit for tat, but he's just trying to protect the business, stop this deal going through. And probably at that point, if it didn't go through, they would probably try and acquire more exclusivity on maybe Call of Duty or other Activision Blizzard games and go that route, because they have acquired more lately, because they are wanting to build this live service route. I'm primarily a single player game. I like my single player games. I love my single player PlayStation games because I just enjoy how they do them. I enjoy the stories that they tell, the characters they make, the details that are in the games, and I love them experiences. I like it that they're branching out more now, looking into live service to an extent, depending on what it's going to be. But acquiring these teams that are doing it and have the capabilities and the know-how how to do it is obviously, Bungie was the right move for them, because Bungie, don't get me wrong, they're not the most perfect, best team, but you look at their live service game, look at Destiny and on how good it's going and how well it's doing. And they are the right people to ask and to help guide them in that sense. And they've acquired some smaller studios to help with PC porting, because, I think it was Herman Hulse came out earlier this year, late last year, and said first party games wouldn't come to PC for at least 12 months. Whereas live service, that's going to be different. We only know a very small number of the third-party exclusivity deals that they've made that state can't go in Game Pass. We want 12 months exclusivity and things like that. But with Square Enix, because they have stated it's only 6 months, but Square Enix, I think, is a bit different. I think Square Enix just know their games sell better on PlayStation. That's where their bigger player bases and the sort of issues Square Enix are going through at the moment. They just don't. don't know if they're coming or going. Are they trying to sell? They sold off a load of studios because they wanted to concentrate on like the Japanese side of stuff, and now they decided we want to expand into, you know, more Western again, and it's all bizarre. So I think they're just putting their resources mainly PlayStation way, because that's where the player base is, and that's what PlayStation's good at, getting them third-party games to fill out their sort of, you know, roster for the year, because obviously it's taking longer to get the exclusives. But whether the deal goes through or not, obviously we'll still have to see. I still think it is going to the way it seems to be going through the FTC at the moment on that front. But some of the stuff Jim's come out with, because obviously he finished his video link deposition about half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago. So we've got
it wasn't live, it was recorded.
But you could watch it, couldn't you? You could see it.
The unredacted sections today.
Yes. But there's still a lot of stuff said, and obviously he's putting the concerns of other game developers across, which I'd probably say he's more exaggerating. He's only probably asked ones that pretty much just deal on more of the PlayStation side than anything else, and assuming others. But, you know, we hear a lot of developers and publishers say that Game Pass have done brilliant for them, like EA. EA is a big champion of Game Pass because how much more money they've made out of it by being part of Game Pass. Well,
okay, so I want to come to Ash with this question. Do you think that Jim Ryan's concerns regarding the PS6 are justified, regarding not wanting to give the PS5 or PS6 dev kit to Microsoft or Xbox too early?
No. It's the Xbox send them dev kits, PlayStation would send them. Dev kits are usually widely different to final release anyway. Right. They're normally more powerful, and they get trimmed down closer to launch when they go, hang on, we actually can't afford to pay for those. And honestly, like, it's a bit petty. There's always risks, but the stuff he was saying, like, they may leak our stuff, it's like, well, they wouldn't. You get them to sign an NDA like you would with anyone else, and then if they do leak it, you take their ass to court. It's come across, and I mean, I obviously haven't been listening it live. I've been reading what some of the people are saying on Twitter and stuff like that. But honestly, it just comes across very petty and trying to pick faults and potential issues that aren't there and they've never been there. Like, they must have sent them dev kits for like other games. They must have sent Bethesda stuff for Deathloop and stuff like that and everything. Do you know what I mean? So they know it exists, and then they're like, oh yeah, but we're going to get a crap version. It's like, well, if you're not going to send us a dev kit, you're going to get the crappiest version. So you can't have it both ways. Like, I bet your Xbox sent dev kits for MLB and stuff like that, and I was going to say other stuff, but PlayStation don't put else out on Xbox that I'm aware of at this moment in time. But yeah, no, I think it's unwarranted. But man's got to graft and got to grift, and he's got to beg, steal, cheat, and everything to get this deal blocked. And a fair play to him for talking a load of shit. Literally, his job is like CEO of PlayStation or whatever it is, head of PlayStation games and stuff. He needs to be doing everything he can to make PlayStation better. And right now, his number one priority is to say that Xbox is going to harm them massively, whether they are or not, because that's his prerogative. I don't think it's that big a prerogative, because like, he's been jetting all over the world for weeks and weeks and weeks. And where is he right now? He's taking photos, like really awkward photos with Kojima's wearing matching hoodies when he could be at this court case. Like, I feel like he didn't want to be questioned publicly because he knows it would all go to tits, and a lot of his lies would come out. Whereas with your video deposition, they can just say, oh, well, look, he's talking a load of shit there, and that's it, really. So,
Jim's a busy man. He ain't got time to go to court. He's not like Phil Spencer and everyone else.
If Call of Duty being taken off PlayStation was going to crumble the PlayStation brand to the point that it doesn't exist, he would be there right in the crowd. He'd be looking sad. He'd have like the stuff under his eyes to make him look like he's crying and that. He'd be like, "Please, sir, don't take away Call of Duty." And he'd be like,
right.
he knows it's just not important. He's done his job now, and now it's up for FTC to drop the ball like they're doing.
All it is, because Phil Spencer and all they do is play video games all day, and Matt Booty pops in and goes, "Hey, Mr. Spencer, is this game okay to go ahead?" Yeah. I'm playing Destiny. That they've got time to go to court. Jim, he's out there making moves, doing them dance moves, making all them deals. While everyone's been in court, he's there laughing all the way, getting all these new third-party exclusives for me at Christmas.
What
Nice.
exclusives? You've only got Spider-Man now to end it, yeah.
Got Final Fantasy 16.
And no one's talking about it because we've got this boring FTC case yet again rearing its ugly head.
Well,
I hope like it's done by the end of July. Like they had the middle of July, 18th of July is like the cut-off date. They've the hard date. Microsoft has said if it goes past that, deal's done. Like I feel like if this FTC they throw it out, it doesn't get done. I feel they'll just close it and just F the CMA and they'll deal with them later.
Yeah.
If the FTC win here, I think it's going to be pretty much over. But honestly, it's hard to judge. It sounds like it's going terribly for the FTC, but they all said the CMA were passing it, and then literally they said, "Nah, mate, UK says fuck you." So I don't want to.
I don't think that they will go through with the deal if they win that case immediately. I think they will try to follow protocol with in the UK, because just going through that would put them in so much legal trouble in the UK. And
I think they'll announce they're going to go through. I because otherwise they've got to renegotiate deals, pay more money out, and admittedly, it's a drop in the bucket, but money's money. But I honestly think if the FTC lose this, there's no one else like apart from the CMA really standing up to this deal, and I feel like they can then take it and say, "Well, we've give the EU, we've changed things for the EU, we've done the same thing for the FTC. Come on, CMA, accept it." And we can move on from this. Everyone's like, we've all got something out of it. We've all got compromises. Do you know what I mean? But I'm hoping it just ends soon. I'm just sick of hearing about it. Like I love Activision games, but I feel like it's kneecapped Xbox for the last year and a half. Like we haven't had anything good. It's definitely let other companies. I feel like we would have had Crystal Dynamics in Xbox and not Embracer if this hadn't happened. I feel like Bungie may have even been like a bit more talking to Xbox instead of going to PlayStation if Microsoft wasn't focused on Activision. But it is what it is. PlayStation's made loads of purchases this last year and two. Xbox has done nothing bar saying Activision's coming. And I just want it over and done with. Either you give us the games in Game Pass, you don't give us the games in Game Pass. They're going to be exclusive, not going to be exclusive. Don't bother me. I've got all consoles. I'll play whatever it is or wherever it is. I just want to stop hearing about it, stop talking about it. Let's focus on the games for all of the consoles and what's coming to each of them, and let's move on from this boring, dragging out affair. Although I do like seeing the shit slinging in the court. It's great. It's like watching
the Ace Attorney or whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's like watching like some sort of TV novella drama sort of thing. The way it's back and forth and the shit slinging and stuff. Yeah. But other than that, I'm done with it. I'm bored of it. Let's find something new to talk about. Let's move on to the next. What is instead of is that Activision deal going to pass or not? Do you know what I mean? It's just silly.
Well, that's cool.
Sick of all the negatives from either side. Let's have some positives.
We can move on to Metal Gear Solid 4 being on other platforms. That's a good topic, and I think that's one of our main topics. So we can move on to that because, of course, the ABK deal is like, oh, Jesus. Like I've said in previous podcasts, it's like that shit in the toilet no one really cares about. You're just trying to plunge it so it flushes. That's all it is.
Jesus Christ.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Everyone just wants it out of the way so we can move on with our lives. So
it's true. It is true.
Yeah. So the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 lineup has reportedly leaked. publisher Konami confirmed the full lineup of games included in Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 on Wednesday, as well as its release date and the platforms it will be available on. Following the announcement, Twitter user Nitroid found that the Metal Gear Solid website had added buttons to its franchise timeline for the games included in Volume 1, plus placeholder buttons for Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Now, the reason, obviously, why this is so, groundbreaking is because Metal Gear Solid 4 has been on one platform. That platform, of course, being the PS3. It hasn't been on any platforms since. So hearing that this is actually going to be part of the Collection 2 is, I mean, in my opinion, that's amazing. Boxenberger, are you a fan of the Metal Gear franchise? And what do you think of this news that Metal Gear Solid 4 is going to be available on multiple platforms?
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not the biggest Metal
sorry,
Gear
I was
fan.
muted. I accidentally muted my mic,
I keep doing that. I keep looking away from the telly and I pause it, and then I forget that I've clicked. It's not on my headset. I click it on StreamYard, and then I forget.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Metal Gear Solid or any of the Kojima games, to be honest. I really don't. I know. I'm not making friends with this, but I just don't get the excitement around the Kojima games. I just don't. I don't think the stories are well told. I don't think the gameplay mechanics are really fleshed out. Like shooting always felt not good. Stealth parts were not good. There's just I don't get the Kojima games. I'm happy because apparently a lot of people do enjoy them. So yeah. I'm always happy when more gamers get to experience games they can enjoy. But yeah, not with Kojima games for me. So, but it is an interesting thing of them to actually put them. And I see Thimber in the chat that I'm getting blacklisted by Jeff. God, I hope not.
I went to his house already.
Yeah.
I want to go to his Gamescom opening show. We're going to Gamescom this year, yeah, and we're still hoping we will get tickets.
he'll have security throw you out. He'll be like, nope, he doesn't like.
Yeah. Kojima. The Kojima hater. Yeah. Well, then so be it. But no, the interesting part about this actually is that Konami apparently moves away from those kind of exclusive deals. And I mean, Sony has been having most of the Kojima games as an exclusive.
Yeah.
So I think this is actually the interesting move here that they try to branch out on more platforms, and I think that they use this as kind of a test phase, or I don't know, test run, for further games to see whether exclusive deals actually benefit them on their platform or not, as a publisher or not. And so I do hope it does well, because I think it will have an impact on other Konami games in the future. So yeah. Not particularly excited about the game, but about the fact that it comes to platforms. That's really cool.
Nice. Ash, what are your thoughts on this? I know you were you had something you wanted to get out about the Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna say something here. I agree with Boxenberger. I don't particularly care for Metal Gear games as a whole, or Kojima games as a whole. It's great that people do, but I've never been a big fan. I don't mind Metal Gear 2. I've played it a few times, never to the end, because it just got to a point where you're like, oh, it's about a 17-hour cutscene. It's like playing Final Fantasy 16 now, where it's just cutscene.
Right.
But I like collecting retro. I like preserving retro on modern consoles and modern. I like playing like PS1 games, but in HD on my modern consoles. So I'm all up for them bringing this package. I love that they're putting the NES games and stuff in there that not as many people have played. But for me, I'm hoping like if this does well, Konami will stop being little bitches and we get a Silent Hill collection with all the Silent Hill games in. That's what I want. Let's use Metal Gear to get the interest up, and then let's start bringing some other Konami classic IPs out in like bundles. And I'm also looking forward, like I say, number 4. I never played 4. Apparently, it never had an exclusivity deal. It was just they didn't want to pay to print multiple discs. So the whole reason we didn't get this on Xbox, which I think is shocking, is just to save a couple of quid on each game.
Wow.
So I'd like to play them. I'll probably play through them all a bit, and even if I just try them for a little bit and then I don't play them again, it's nice to have them. But I do like publishers bringing out their classic games onto current modern systems. I mean, they've just announced, I think today, that properly that the Switch is going to be forwards compatible. So for one of the first times in like ever, I think it is the first time ever, your Nintendo account will move forward with you onto the new Nintendo console, whereas normally
it's crazy.
Rebuy everything,
Nintendo, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that we're now getting these, I think Nintendo's realized, like PlayStation now have and Xbox has for a while, your libraries are what keeps people on your platform. Like honestly, I dropped off my Xbox after the 360 during the Xbox One because honestly, after the launch, it was dreadful. And I'm a big Xbox fan. I've had an OG 360 and the One, and I went to PlayStation, but I came back to Xbox because that's where all my games are, the majority. And now, like I say, 90% of my game archive as such, my game library, is on Xbox. So having stuff that's never been on Xbox now come to Xbox is great. It gives me more reason to keep playing it and try out these old series. And I'd love to see some of the other Metal Gear games come to console as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what's in a collection too. Will we get more of the PSP games? Could we see, I'd like to see like the mobile games and stuff. And I'm hoping the Metal Gear 2 includes the skateboarding mini game. That's all I want. I want a Solid Snake on a skateboard, and I'll be happy. But
mobile is right up BMG's alley.
I just like to see all that sort of stuff. There's been so many like weird and wonderful games, especially from Konami, like Silent Hill games. They've made like a visual novel storybook Silent Hill. They made multiple Silent Hill mobile exclusive games that are now literally lost to time unless you've got an original iPhone that's modded.
Yeah.
Port them to console. Let's have a go. And I hope it, like I say, Konami have some great IP, and I'd like to see them do this more often. It would make sense if they're bringing Silent Hill 2 remastered out to then maybe also bring a Silent Hill collection out if they're doing it with Metal Gear for Metal Gear 3 remade. Stuff like that. So we'll see. But it's nice that it's on all consoles as well. That's the way Konami should do it.
BMG, are you a fan of Metal Gear Solid? Are you excited about this news that Metal Gear Solid 4 is going to be on other consoles than just the PS3? Because keep in mind, it's not available on PS4 either. So multiple consoles also means current generation consoles.
Yeah. Oh, I'm that excited. I've had to take my pants off because I am a big Kojima fan. Kojima is awesome. He makes awesome games. Some of them are weird as hell, but good games. Yes. I really enjoy them. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 was actually my favourite. I played all of them, done them all. But 4's was always my favourite. 4's technically the last game, and not 5. 5's second game. It's strange how the timeline actually works for them. But no, Metal Gear Solid 4 ties everything together. It's a really, really good game. There's some long cut scenes, but it's a really interesting story. And the fact that now it's finally getting off the PlayStation 3 and coming to modern consoles and all consoles, another one that's also for the first time coming off PlayStation 1 is the original Metal Gear Solid, which you'll be able to play on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, which, God, I think that game, that was 5 discs when it originally released. It was, so it's great to have the original. And about the ones from the NES, which is was quite. They must have struck up some sort of deal with Nintendo to be able to do that. The only way you get them games as part of the collection is if you pre-order the game. So if you don't pre-order the game, you don't get the original Metal Gear Snake 2. You have to pre-order it. But no,
I don't think
I'm
they have
very
to have a
excited.
deal with Nintendo because it wasn't a Nintendo exclusive.
No, but it's wasn't it something to do with the license, something to do with one of the
I
licenses?
don't think so.
I'll have to have a look. But either way, it's great. It's great to get them.
Every NES game at launch said licensed by Nintendo at the time. So they were all licensed to the NES by Nintendo. But if you look at like modern retro consoles and stuff, like the Evercade has NES games on it, they just don't show that screen at the beginning. They just cut it out. So
fair enough.
I assume it'll be that same thing. Maybe there's licensing deals, but I don't think it was a big franchise on the NES back in the day. I don't think it was like an exclusive as such where Nintendo had many fingers in it. So
yeah. Oh, that's fair. But no,
I didn't know it was a pre-order thing. That's a bit crap.
Yeah, you've got to pre-order it. And you also get like all like bonus soundtracks from the games as well as all their pre-order bonuses though. So you have to pre-order it.
Konami takes 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, doesn't it? With stupid ideas like this.
Just pre-order
Did
it.
they not look at Sega doing that with the Origin collection, the Sonic Origins, where they're like, oh, but some of the stuff is locked behind a paywall. I'm like, no, just give us all the content.
Just give us
Which is funny because all that paid extra content for that Sonic game has now been released as part of the £8 update that came out last week, which gives all this new content in the new version, plus all of the DLC you had to pay extra for previously. So I would be really annoyed if I paid extra to then have to pay for it again just to get the other stuff on top of that.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it, but I agree with your assessment about Konami doing stuff that makes no sense. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they're the ones that hype up a Silent Hill announcement, and then it's a skateboard or like a T-shirt or something stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I remember a few years ago, and there was this leak of a new Metal Gear game, and everyone got excited, and it was a pachinko machine. That destroyed a lot of people. I was so upset. It was just a pachinko machine, not a new game.
They're taking their cues from Ubisoft, apparently, like Sam Fisher in that mobile game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Ubisoft, like, we've done what you've all asked for. They've got Jeff Keighley bigging it up on stage and everything. The Sam Fisher, like, he goes black. The lights of his goggles pop up, and it's just like a skin on Ezio or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
To answer Fimber's question, is Konami making pachinko machines? That is actually one of their biggest money earners. They own gyms, spas, and all that. And the Konami came out of gaming for quite a long time. They just stopped, didn't do anything with IPs, concentrated on all their other businesses, and then for whatever reason, they've just started getting back into gaming, licensed a few things out, would have done well. I think there's a crossover with. Is it Dead Cells? Castlevania crossover?
Yes.
With Dead Cells? Yes. Yeah. So they're starting to branch out more. I think they know putting everything on just one platform won't work. They want to make as much money as they can. And obviously Kojima made the games for Konami, and Konami wanted them all on PlayStation. So that's how it worked. And I do believe Metal Gear Solid 4, there was a very well-running version of Metal Gear Solid 4 for the 360. But as you say, it was never going to work for what it was going to cost to put it on multiple discs at the time, I believe. But yeah, and I'm excited. I can't wait. I hope they fix the loading times, because on Metal Gear Solid 4, when you got to you got loaded so much of the game, you could do so much, and then you got a loading point which went on. I think it went on for about 9 minutes loading, and all you saw was Solid Snake stood there smoking a fag. Literally just watching, stood there puffing away on a fag, just smoking for about 8 minutes, and then you got the next big chunk of the game, which was strange.
So, just to say how profitable pachinko machines are for Konami, right? Last year, they had a jump of 10% profit, and a good chunk of that was literally all from sort of pachinko. They made 200. Oh, hang on. What is? I'm trying to work this out in converting. How many zeros does a million got?
6.
6. So that's 2 billion. Apparently, they can't have made $2 billion. Somewhat, I think they're lying.
It might be 2 billion yen because I don't think yen translate straight across.
No,
with dollars.
they made. Oh no, that's its value. Why is it lying to me? Oh, never mind. But they made huge. So their revenue increased to 299.5 billion yen.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and like I say, a good chunk of that was because they weren't anything out last year. Konami really was had like a Yu-Gi-Oh card game and eBaseball, which was like 79p. And some NFTs, but yeah, it's literally all because of pachinko machines.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good though that they're now back into gaming because they've started a whole new gaming division, which is sort of separate from the other part of the company. So I think we're going to see more things licensed out. We're probably going to see the odd exclusive here and there, like is it Silent Hill, the one that they're remaking, rebooting, whatever it is. That's PlayStation exclusive. And I think we'll see more collections. You know, they fumbled at making that Metal Gear Survive, which was absolutely, dog turd. It wasn't even worth making. It was that bad. It made that showering with your dad simulator was more exciting than Metal Gear Survive. That is how bad it
shower
was.
with your dad simulator. We all love that.
Or genital jousting. I saw a picture a few weeks ago of Shuei Yoshida actually at this. It was like it must have been like an indie marquee thing, and he was actually holding one of the genital jousting penises, like stood in front of the board, proud of it in his hands. Which was
I saw that.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Wow.
I don't even know if he knew he were holding, but he looked happy as hell. But no, it's good, and seeing more Metal Gear come into obviously the Xbox platform, PC platform, obviously as well as PlayStation. It's good to see, but yeah, Metal Gear 4's been stuck for so long, and it is actually the best in the series. But it's hard. You've got to kind of play them all in order to understand the actual. A lot of the ending story for Metal Gear 4. So if you're not a fan of the franchise, if you went to play it, half of it you won't even understand, which is a shame. But it's a good game. Good game. I'm excited to play it. And Kojima-san, I love you.
Our last bit of news today is actually about E3. E3 2024 and 2025. They've been canceled. Does this really come as a surprise to anybody?
Now, they haven't 100% been cancelled. They've been marked as cancelled by the California Council or something, but they have come out and said that they're still working on doing something and they just haven't announced it yet. But because they haven't announced it, they've just... It's a very weird worded statement, but I bet it doesn't come back, which is a shame.
Yeah,
I wish it did.
Yeah, the ESA, I think the ESA said no final decisions have been made for the next 2 years. So
yeah, it's the Los Angeles City Tourism Board, I guess, which that's what Ash is talking about. They basically said, hey, you know what, it's not going to happen, or at least it's not as far as they're tracking. But you know what? I kind of feel like the writing was on the wall with E3 for a while, even before the pandemic, just because it felt like it was losing a lot of strength. And now you have PlayStation doing their own thing, and now Xbox is doing their own thing.
I know, but do you not miss it though? Because what we get now is shit. The Keighley stuff, Summer Games Fest was terrible, and it's been terrible for the last few years. They keep changing up the format slightly, but it's still awful, terrible. The good majority of the showcases weren't great. You don't have that in-person sort of excitement and buzz to it all. But yeah,
And you know what? Even seeing it online, seeing all the gamers there, everybody's so excited. It's kind of infectious, where you get excited too because you see all these great games that these people are showing off in these different companies. And to not have that around anymore, it is kind of, I mean, it's the change of the times, obviously. But I agree with you that I don't think the replacement events are necessary. They don't have the same emotional impact. I don't think.
No, they don't. I think this year we came close to what E3 used to be. There were like the showcases were all like squeezed in a time frame of like 3-4 days. Yeah. Except of course the PlayStation showcase that was like 3 weeks in advance, but I think we got close to it, and I don't think that Summer Game Fest is particularly bad, but it's not great either. It just doesn't capture like the same excitement in the gaming community, and I think that's the problem with E3 being gone now. That was the only time of the year where video games were reported on, like every major news site, even the general news sites like, I don't know, CNN and things like that reported on that on E3, and you just don't get that if you don't have that event. And once a year, I feel like the gaming industry kind of needs this. It's not just about the excitement for us core gamers. It's really about like when the industry comes together and have such major events. Like I know we have others. We have Tokyo Game Show, but seriously, no one is reporting on that. Gamescom is massive. It's by 10 times bigger than E3 ever was in terms of visitor numbers. But outside of Germany, no other news outlet is reporting on it. And I think the gaming industry in general just needs this kind of event where you consolidate like the mind share and the positivity of gaming and the excitement around gaming once a year, and that's the thing that we did not get. I mean, we have always had bad shows. You remember so many Ubisoft shows, EA shows at E3, yeah. And PlayStation had their hits and misses, and Xbox had their hits and misses, and so we always had good and bad shows during E3. But there was always like this the impact even outside of the core gaming community, and I think that is what is missing now.
I agree. It's like it drew everybody together, and there was so much attention on E3, even outside of gaming. Yeah. And it's like right now with the events that we have, a lot of people, and we say the gaming community, you see it a lot on Twitter. There are certain social media sites, I guess, where you see this gaming community, but outside of that, a lot of people may not be aware of what they announced at these events. But with E3, it was much more publicized, and it felt like it could draw the attention of people who didn't check out Twitter every single day to see what Xbox was talking about, or watch the Ubisoft live stream that they had. It drew people in, and the gaming journalists also drew a lot of attention to it. And it just feels like, you still have attention drawn to it, but it's nowhere near on the spectacle that E3 was.
It's because they don't have a flute player.
There you go.
They should have announced the return of the flute players for this year.
Flute man.
And it would have still gone ahead. That have turned up in droves.
Right?
Do you guys think that some other show is gonna pick up that flair? I mean, we have like obviously Gamescom here in Germany. We have TGS. We have Paris Games Week. We have.
I hope Gamescom grow. Like, I hope people put a bit more effort into the other ones like Gamescom and maybe Tokyo Game Show, and make them like de facto replacements with some of the pizzazz and some of the importance behind them.
Yeah,
because I don't think we need another show popping up. Like, we need to sort of move what was E3 to one of these other existing shows, basically, in my opinion, anyway.
I agree. I do hope that they will use that big stage that Gamescom basically is now. I mean, again, it has around up to 400,000 people visiting that event. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not use that stage for some major announcements? Yeah. I mean, I get that back in the days, you had to have these kind of events in June and not in August, because E3 started out not as this community event, not even as that press event. It was actually a trade show where, like, the outlets and stores, store owners and so went to see, okay, what's the big game in fall that I need to put in my store front and center. That was the original intent of E3, and then they added like press visitors and a little later, of course, influencers. And back in the days, we had to have these like 5-6 months in advance to announce games and get everything rolling. But now that we've moved on basically to a digital world, I know we still get like physical releases, but even those you can announce way closer to launch. And so it would not really hurt them to have like the big event not in June but in August. And so, yeah, let's hope that Gamescom gets some more attention there.
Definitely hope so. That is our last topic of the day, and we are going to move into 20 questions. I know Boxenberger, you've never played this before, so I'm going to let BMG explain it because he does a great job.
All right. I've got a game ready. Am I doing the game?
Yeah, you're doing the game. You're doing the game.
Okay. So for anyone that hasn't played, we are at the end of every PSN Party podcast, we play video game 20 questions, where I have a game in mind. The panel have 20 questions. Last question being the guess. To guess the game that I have in mind, I can only answer yes or no. You are not allowed to use Google, internet, anything like that. You have to dive deep into your mind palace of gaming knowledge to work out the game I have. Chat, hopefully this week, this might be the first week that people actually might help the panel. We will see. Usually they just keep calling games out, and it's like, no, we need questions to guess the game. Can't just say a game. If you guess the game and it's wrong, and you can guess a game at any point, but if you do, then you lose. But so far, everyone has been done and won so far. So we are on a winning streak of about, 13 now? We on 13, 14?
Yeah.
I think we're at something like that. So with that being said, any questions, anyone, before we begin? Let the questioning begin.
All right, first question. Here you go. Very simple. Did this game come out before the PlayStation 4, Xbox One generation?
Yes.
Was it a console, or was it exclusive to one particular platform?
No. Oh, and Sentinel or Ash, one of them, will keep note in the private chat so you can see what, the questions that were asked and answered. So you can, I don't look at that, so you can refer to that. And
so the second question was whether it came out on one platform exclusive.
Yeah,
No.
So it's basically a multi-platform. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yes, it's multi-platform. Is it part of a franchise?
Yes.
All right, so it came out before the PS4, Xbox One generation. It's not an exclusive. It's part of a franchise. Did this game come out before the PS2 original Xbox generation?
No.
Good.
Okay. So PS2 or OG Xbox game and part of a franchise. Should we narrow it down?
Sorry, did you asked if it come out before the PS2 generation?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was a no. No.
So it's PS2, OG Xbox 360,
PS3.
PS3,
Game.
and whatever Nintendo had at those times. Wii U.
Since it's part of a franchise, should we go to use one of our questions to ask if it's part of like a pop culture IP like Star Wars or something?
Yeah, is it like part? Yeah, that's a good one. Is
Yeah.
it based on an IP or something like that? Yeah.
Well, all games are based on an IP.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you know what I mean.
You don't want a
Right.
pop
license-
culture
a
IP
licensed
like
IP.
Star Wars. Yeah.
No. The answer
It's not
is
a
no.
licensed property.
Okay.
That's fine.
Not a license.
Right.
Was it
Was-
yeah,
Go on,
pardon,
mate.
please.
No, go.
Was it the first game of that franchise?
No.
No.
Was it made by an American dev?
Yes.
I always say that, and then I'm like, who's an American dev?
Hmm.
I just hope someone else can narrow it down.
Is it a first-person shooter?
First person shooter, no. But this is a bit of a freebie. You can play the game in first or third person.
Ah.
That might help you a little.
That might help us a lot, actually, because there were not that many games where you could actually choose. So that was basically the Elder Scrolls games.
I was
where
just
you
about to say
could do
Elder Scrolls Fallout.
Fallout.
Hmm.
Did you know? Were you able to go back to third person in Fallout 3?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
We
Honestly.
could
Figure I was
narrow it
gonna
down.
ask
We
if
could
they
narrow
make
it down to
concurrent
which
machines.
publisher. No, that's Konami. That's Japanese. Okay, so is the publisher Bethesda?
Publisher Bethesda, yes.
Oh, we're getting some. Right.
Nice.
I think I gave you too much of a hint there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it a setting? Is it a fantasy setting?
Yes, that's 10.
Right. So
10?
that narrows it down.
Okay, so we have to narrow it down whether it's Oblivion or Morrowind.
Skyrim as well. Didn't Skyrim come out?
Skyrim, yeah, right. That came also out at the very end. So okay, how can we narrow that
Well,
down?
we've got. Oh, we can't ask. Yeah, we're not guessing. So can we go? Is it Morrowind? Question mark. Not guessing.
No,
Right.
No, that's
Right.
trying to find a
Does the
loophole.
cover have a word that starts with M on it?
I don't know if I should allow that, but
All
no.
right.
That's a bit. Yeah, I'll allow it this time, but for future, you can't do that. That's
Right.
cheating.
All right. Well, does the game start in like an undergroundy, like boring, dungeony sewer area, and then it opens up later on?
Does it start in
Yeah,
an
like
underground area?
Well, I'm not saying you start on the back of a fucking cart. I'm saying you like. It's been a long time since I've played fucking Oblivion. I just remember
Yeah, but it starts in a
you're in,
sewer.
like,
Yeah.
You're in a sewer.
and that's the answer is no.
Right. It's not Oblivion then. But it's not. Doesn't start with an M, so that narrows it down quite a lot.
Do you play as a dragonborn in that game?
Yes.
Do you wake up on a cart?
So we're maxing out our 20 questions now, or do we?
Was it the worst of the 3 of the games we've mentioned?
No.
Yes,
No.
it was. Yes, it was.
No.
Don't you all say Skyrim
No.
and Oblivion.
Absolutely, it was better.
No, you're all wrong there.
Um,
We know what it is.
Go ahead.
We're still trying to guess.
okay, Box and Burger, since you're our guest, go ahead.
Yeah, is it Skyrim?
Yes, it is
So-
Skyrim.
Outstanding.
Released in 2011 for the PS3, Xbox 360, and obviously later ported so you could play it on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Yeah,
Nice.
I knew as soon as I say you could switch to between third and first person, that would kind of give you it. But
Yeah.
always try and pick a game that I know everyone knows or has played. So I never pick some obscure like Ash, which was like some.
No, I picked Star Wars Masters of Terrakassi or whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Yeah, no
How
one
many
played that.
people have?
Yeah.
We were
Next-
talking. It was about Star Wars week or some
Yeah,
bollocks. It was Star
next
Wars.
to no one had played it, and the people that had played it have blanked it out their minds because it was so
Well,
bad.
you got it. Do you know what? I'm going to get you. I'm going to next time I pick. I'm going for what do you call it? I'm going to go for a
Ooh.
oh, what they called now? Hang on.
A pachinko machine.
No.
Oh,
I
one of
can't
these Arcadia games, some obscure game. That
Yeah,
only
I'm going to
about
get
10
you. I'm going to
people
go
have
for a
heard of.
Laserdisc game just to fuck with you.
Oh my god, no.
A Philips
Yes.
CDI game. You'll never get it because it'll be a licensed IP, and then you'll have no idea. And then you'll be like, "Oh shit, it was Elder." Oh,
Wow. Setting us up for failure. That's messed up.
But the streak continues. Well done again, panel. Well
Outstanding.
done. I would say well done, chat, but again, we just keep getting games called out, which doesn't really
Doom
overly
free.
help. But
And
Well,
then
thank
we're
you
talking
anyway,
about
chat.
Japanese things when we've narrowed it down to America. It's like Fabio, isn't it?
Right.
Is it third person? Is it a third person driving game? No, stop asking questions. God damn it.
Right.
then again, I panic though. I
It's-
panic because we played. Ash had picked the game, and there was just me and Sentinel. And then Sentinel decided to go running down in the street barefoot, chasing his dog.
Jesus, here we
I
go.
burned
Yeah,
through about
So BMG panicked
12
and started like, asking
questions.
about 12 questions. He's like, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? I'd give you a few more clues towards the end, though,
Wow.
because I'm not a,
Oh,
I'm not
I
a cruel
panicked.
dictator.
Did it come out on like the 12th of February at 10 a.m. Standard Eastern Time? And it was a sunny day. No.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right. That's it for today's show. I do want to thank everybody who showed up in chat. Masuko, Mr. Joanna Dark, Luke Steele was here for a while. Let me see. Thimber, always here. Thank you so much for your support. Greatly appreciate it. Anyone that I did miss, Pixel Slapper, I did miss you. Thank you for checking out our show. I greatly appreciate it.
Joanna Dark was there.
Yeah, Mr. Joanna Dark, got him. Muppet was here as well. Thank you so much. Everyone who does listen to this afterwards, thank you for checking it out. We greatly appreciate it. Boxenberger, thank you so much for being our guest today. Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you at social media and otherwise?
Yeah, first, let me thank you for the invite again. I had a blast. So thanks for letting me on your show. And yeah, people can find me everywhere under Boxenberger on every gaming platform, maybe Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, wherever I'm, Twitter, YouTube. It's Boxenberger everywhere. So yeah, but thanks again for having me. And yeah, I see you guys soon.
Nice. Thank you for being on our show. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Ash, do you want to tell our listeners, viewers, where they can find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on the Twitter under _Ghostbuster with a 0 instead of an O. You can find me basically as the overseer of the XPN network social channels, and you can basically find me on some of the podcasts. I've just launched a brand new Fable Focus podcast. It went out Sunday, I believe. Thank you to everyone who's listened to that and watched it. It was a good sort of like nearly 2 hours of conversation. Highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already. And I'm doing loads of reviews, written and video ones for the channel, and I've got a load of like tier lists and stuff coming soon. It's just a bit up in the air this week due to work and stuff, and me being away over the weekend. But loads of stuff coming, so just keep an eye out. And yeah, and I'm in the Discord. Join our Discord if you haven't already. We have a lot of funny discussions in there, so not for the faint of heart though.
Right. BMG, do you want to tell our listeners, viewers, where they can find you at?
Yeah, obviously you find me over here on the XPN network. I am co-hosting for now on PSN Party Podcast. Sentinel doing a great job as always because I'm super busy, so it's getting in last minute. You can find me on PlayStation, BaldManGamer86, Xbox BaldManGamer, Twitter @BaldManGamer, and for anything else, just keep an eye on there.
Nice. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, SSG Sentinel. You can find me there. I'm also on the PSN Party Podcast every Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. UK time, and then of course the XBL Party Podcast Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. in the UK. So you can catch me on those two podcasts as well. To everyone who did watch this, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like if you enjoyed this podcast. If you know someone who may enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. And also, don't forget to follow us on YouTube and on Twitter. Of course, it's XPN Network. Also, check out our podcast on Thursday, XBL Party Podcast, again at 2 p.m. Central Time, and that's going to be 8 p.m. for those of you in the UK. Until next time, this is SSG Sentinel. Take it easy.